So good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. We'll just wait a couple of, I wouldn't say minutes, but let's wait a little bit more for everyone to come into this webinar. I'll be back in about 30 seconds. Yes, I see some more people coming in. Welcome to those of you joining us now. Let's begin. In the meantime, more people will enter the webinar, but that's fully okay. So hi and welcome to our webinar about the importance of data flow transparency. So my name is Eric, and I'll be your host for today, also moderator and presenter for today's session. And I want to start off with saying we appreciate you taking the time to join us to explore how Delogue PLM as a product lifecycle management solution and Business Central as a Microsoft ERP solution can work really hand in hand to drive transparency and efficiency through the whole product lifecycle. So today, in a minute, I will be starting to present or to introduce the presenters. But before we do that, let's go through the agenda for today. So we'll have different topics to cover for today. So we'll be starting with the introduction, like I said, and then we'll go through the fundamentals of PLM and ERP. Then we'll talk about why it actually matters to have like an efficient flow through your product lifecycle. We'll talk a little bit about the key benefits of a good integration between the two solutions, and then we'll end up with several demos. So we're going to have a look at the PLM solutions, but also Business Central and how they are integrated with each other. And then at the end, we'll have some time for Q&A. If there are any questions, please use the GoToWebinar panel. There you will find a question, some questions functionality. So please, if you have any, I'll try to moderate it as good as I can. Maybe I'll come back at the end of the webinar to your questions, depending on if I have the time and don't have to present. So let's see. So to start off, first some housekeeping announcements. As you maybe know from previous sessions, all our sessions are being recorded, so will be shared later on. Also find it at our website, tcog.nl. Everyone's on mute, and please stay so we have the opportunity to present today's session, but feel free to ask the question. We'll have about, I think we'll cover everything in 45 minutes. Let's see how it goes. We have got some great things to show you and to talk about, and then we have at the end we have some time for Q&A. Like I said, recording will be shared. Also, the slides will be shared. So you can have a look and share it within your organization later on. That's absolutely no problem. So let's dive right into the webinar. So like I said, my name is Eric. I've been with TCOG for 4 years now, in the Microsoft ecosystem for about 10 years. Within our company, currently I'm responsible for all commercial strategy, but also the commercial execution. So I'm speaking with a lot of fashion brands and distributors and retailers and talk about the requirements that they have concerning ERP, but also PLM and sustainability. All those topics come into this discussion, and really have been very closely involved with the collaboration and the partnership with Delogue. So I started 4 years ago and immediately had a great collaboration with Delogue, and really took it to a next level, to the extent that we currently have a great integration as well, which we will demonstrate in a minute. So that's maybe a nice bridge. Isa, I've got Isa and Stefan for you today. Isa, maybe you can start by introducing yourself, and then Stefan.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us, Eric, first of all. And hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. I'm very happy to see that so many are actually interested in it, which just shows how important it actually is to have like collaboration like we have with TCOG. And like I said, I'm Aisha. I've been with Delogue for 3 years now, and I'm an account executive for the DACH region and the Netherlands. And actually, since my time I started here, I've been knowing Eric for 3 years now. So since I started, the collaboration started as well. And it's of course a very important pillar also as for us as a company to have people in the industry that we can connect with and actually at the end of the day help other companies to have less headache in their everyday work. Exactly. Stefan, you want to take over?
Yes, let's see. Yeah, I also wanted to show my face. So hi, everyone. Super excited to see all of you. Fun to hear that you guys are all curious about how to kind of build a tech stack with a data exchange. I hope that you guys will see the value in having connected systems and partnerships. Both of us are going to present our solutions, and they're good as they are. But the reason why we're here is to also prove how good it can be if you connect the systems with each other. So yeah, Stefan, as I said, I'm an account executive. I'm primarily responsible for the Scandinavian markets, but also Benelux. So if you're a Dutch or a Belgian brand, feel free to reach out. And also the UK a little bit. Those are my markets. And yeah, super fun to see you guys and looking forward to your questions too.
Amazing. Thank you, Stefan and Isa. It's great to have you. So again, thank you for being here and contribute to this webinar. So let me start just very briefly about our company. Not all of you will know our company. We've got some customers inside this webinar, but also some unknown names, maybe some international names. So it's good to have an idea of who we are. So we are a Microsoft ERP partner. So we specialize in implementing the Microsoft solutions. And that's specifically for fashion and retail businesses. So we are a Benelux organization, so we have our headquarters in closely to Utrecht, in the center of the Netherlands, but also two locations, two offices in Belgium and one in India. So we have a development center there to support our development teams over here. So like I said, we are a Microsoft ERP partner, so that means that we optimize business processes through an integrated solution, everything from supply chain, purchasing, sales, warehousing, finance, all stuck in one system. And then from there, we facilitate the integrations to PLM systems, to fulfillment partners, to e-commerce platforms, marketplaces, etc., etc. So we really have, that stands us aside, that we really have this deep industry-specific knowledge, and that we have really the specific focus. We have maybe some of you know the whole idea of Business Central. It's an ERP platform, and that allows you to add extensions on top of that. So we've built our own extension specifically for the fashion industry to cover everything from sizes to collections and seasons, pre-order, stuff like that. And we distribute this fashion app. Microsoft calls it apps. There are about 5,000 apps available for Business Central today. And one of them is Ipsos Fashion 365, our solution. We distribute that through a number of partners worldwide. So we do our own implementations with our fashion solution in the Benelux. But whether you're a customer from Denmark or Canada, US, France, Germany, whatever, we can help you through our partner network to implement Ipsos Fashion, and through that you can profit from the PLM solution as well. So we support about 225 customers. Like I said, we are acknowledged by Microsoft to be a solutions partner, business applications, and also for the retail the people from specifically the retail industry that are listening in today. We are also Diamond Partner of Alice Retail, which comes with which is also an app on the Business Central to facilitate retail management capabilities. So anything from replenishment to POS, mobile POS, pricing and promotions, loyalty, stuff like that. We all can cover that in Business Central as well. So that's in a nutshell what we do, and then I hope you have a clear idea on sort of basic idea of what we do and what questions we address. So Aise, maybe hand over to you for the
Yes.
to tell a little bit about Delogue.
Yeah, of course, because some of you might have heard about Delogue before, some of you have not. So Delogue is a Copenhagen-based PLM fashion house. And we were actually born 13 years ago from the industry, from the fashion industry, after the fashion industry. And what that means in the core is that both of our co-founders actually come from the industry. We're both purchasers and product developers, and quickly realized in their everyday life that there must be a way to make it more simple for the people doing this job. And that's how Delogue got born. At this point, we work with over 280 brands. Mainly in the textile and fashion industry, but of course over the years there has been a lot of different segments that reached out to us and needed help. So with different segments, I mean like lifestyle and soft interior companies, we also cover them. And then we work in over 70 countries, of course, and we have over 9,000 users, but most importantly, we work with over 10,000 active suppliers on a daily that log into Delogue and help brands to communicate, have a better workflow, because Delogue's main mission is to close the gap between the supplier and the brand, one of the main missions. And what Delogue stands for is to help brands create a strong database. I think that's the most key thing here. And we start from initial concept and design to manufacturing and end of life. That's a little bit to the company and who we are. I think everyone at Delogue has some sort of fashion background, so I would say we are all experts in terms of problem solving of the industry, and I think that's also very important when you choose your partner, that they have an understanding of what the problems actually are that you're facing, especially in the ever-evolving fashion industry. I think we feel it all at the moment that with the EU legislations coming up and so on, I think that's then even more important to have people who know what they're talking about. Exactly. But I'm going to go into the topic a little bit more and explain you what maybe the difference between PLM and ERP is, but also what the core functionalities of a PLM and ERP is. So let's have a look at what PLM in its core actually does. In a nutshell, PLM plays a crucial role in managing your product data. So imagine maybe a day of a product developer or a designer when they come to the office in the morning. They most likely open quite a few tabs, like Excel for the tech pack specifications. Maybe you received a PDF. You open your Gmail for the communication with your suppliers. And then you have maybe WeTransfer to send the tech pack to your supplier, or you even communicate with your suppliers over WhatsApp. So you can already see that's a lot of like data silos that you open up. And now imagine all these necessary work steps combined in one platform. Because Delogue acts as a single source of truth for all the product related data, and with that also all the product related work steps that you have in your day. And it ensures that teams work with up-to-date information. And with that, we are reducing errors and inefficiency by eliminating all these different data silos. So if we look at the core functions of Delogue, I think we can divide it into 3 pillars, the ones that you see in front of you. I divided this in the bill of material, because that's a very important part of your whole tech pack. The supplier communication, most of your data actually comes from your supplier. And of course, most importantly, what the PLM stands for is the streamlined processes. So let's dive maybe a little deeper into all the specific pillars that I just told you, and start with the bill of material. So like I said, one core function is of a PLM system is to capture all product specific specifications, and everything regarding to that happens in Delogue. So that's how you can imagine it. You have a tech pack right now, maybe in Excel. And if you start with a PLM system, that tech pack lives in that system. So Delogue actually creates automatically while you work in your everyday tech packs in the background. So from measurement chart to care label creation, your pricing, everything that you can think of will happen in the PLM system, product related, of course. And we see the bill of material as the first step into the supply chain, actually, because it's becoming more and more important to store more in-depth details of your components, like the composition and the origin of your materials, especially with regards to the upcoming EU legislation. And it's a very good first step to already capture these informations, even if you don't know what specific will be asked for the DPP and so on. But in this case, you already do like a good risk assessment and cover everything in the PLM system in one place that you then later on can also report on. And with that, if you work in one single source of truth, there's of course many ways how you can automate these steps between the tech packs as well. When you between a product creation and a material library, for example, you don't have to do any of these redundant workflows anymore that you maybe do more in one Excel and then put it in another Excel with copy paste. And hence these workflows are getting automated. And in that way, you work more efficient and always make sure that you have the real-time data in place. And I think that's a very important aspect if we talk about the PLM, because of course you can also store all your information in different data silos. But with the log, you can actually track what happened under a product or a material, who did what. And in this sense, you have a more efficient way of working and really have your real-time data in place. And at the same time, your whole team can work together. And at the same time as well. For example, on the bill of material, you can all work together. This, of course, creates a very much good way of transparency. Just imagine one of your colleagues is sick and has his Gmail login, and maybe the Excel sheet is on his laptop or her laptop. And in this way, if somebody leaves the company or is sick, you still have all the data and communication in one place and can just keep on working. And with that being said, I think the next slide works very much well into it, because one of our main differentiators as well is that Delogue connects all your suppliers to the system for free. We decided this 13 years back, because one of our main missions is to close the gap between the suppliers and the brands. And I don't think we will ever change this aspect of our company, because for us it's very important that you really involve all your suppliers, so we can really make sure that you don't only have internal transparency, but also external transparency with your suppliers. And so with that being said, there's no limit of how many suppliers you can add to your Delogue account. You all work on one single source of data. So meaning that when you, for example, request a sample request, everybody can see it. You can see the deadline, you can see what your supplier is doing, and you can also then interact if, for example, your supplier says to you, I can't make it to a certain time, so you can take the necessary action. And with that being said, also the shared documentation that is becoming more and more crucial when we look at the EU legislation, with all the documents we have to save now, transaction certificates, scope certificates, all that is also in the log. So meaning that you can prep your suppliers in a very good way of also all the legislations that are coming, work on your collaboration with them, and already have a very strong database that you have with them. And with that also, of course, you avoid miscommunication, because when we talk to brands that maybe don't have a PLM system in place, I think the biggest pain point they have is the very, very long email threads they have, for example, and then in the subject it says first sample and Merry Christmas, and then you can't find it anymore. So the log really centralizes all of these communications, data flow, and documentation. And of course, you can make sure that your supplier also have instant access to updates, because if you change something in the measurement chart or whatever, you can always make sure that your supplier gets the newest version. So in that sense, again, we are reducing errors. And the next step is the streamlined processes, of course. I think this is also a good place to showcase where the PLM actually stops and why it's so necessary to have ERP system. Of course, by centralizing your product development in the log and creating the data in one system, you will be more efficient at the end of the day. Because while you already do your everyday work and capture it in one system, the log allows you to report on these any kind of data points actually that you already have in the system. meaning that you can take big data sets, compare them to each other, and very importantly, export this data for other departments or stakeholders, or in that sense to your ERP system. Because where the log or a PLM actually stops is, you can see we start by inspiration and creation, then we go into the products and components, so all specification. The sourcing and dialogue happens with your suppliers in the system because, like I said, they are attached for free. Also, the quality assurance for sampling and all of that is also in the PLM system. And then the data management, of course, as well. If you have to report for the sales team or marketing team, you can always extract any kind of data from the PLM system. But I think the most important part, and that's also why we sit here today, is the data sharing and integrations. Because the log stops at the purchase order, and that's exactly where your ERP system comes in place, because they take care of all the financial and everything else. And that's why it's important that you as a brand choose systems that actually have an standard integration, sorry, because it will save you at the end of the day a lot of redundant work again, because what I think everyone in the industry operating as an IT system doesn't want is that you as a brand have two disconnected systems, because that means then we are opening up for more errors again, and in this way we ensure that the data flows. And just to summarize the core pillars of the log, because sustainability is of course a very important topic, and I think both TCOG and the log are very aware of that, but the pillars of the log actually cover the whole ESG agenda. Managing your data is the first step into your ESG work. And I think also it's very important that you choose partners, system partners that actually do something for this matter. Because the log, for example, is a standard system, so that means we keep on developing. We already developed a compliance tool. We have people internally that actually only focus on the ESG agenda. And then we work closely and collaborate closely with, for example, TCOG. And I think that's really important, so we can have a good, how do you say, like a tech stack of companies that actually speak with each other. And in that way, you can ensure that your sustainability data is definitely on the right. So, and now, like I said, the log stops at the purchase order. So let's have a look at what the ERP system actually does then. And I have this beautiful presentation from Eric, but if we have to differentiate between PLM and ERP, is that PLM focuses on managing product from concept to production, and the ERP focuses on business execution, so managing resources, finances, and supply chain after production. And the whole concept of ERP is already 40 years old, and TCOG, for example, has been around since the 1990s. It's a very crucial part of a business, as it is like a transactional system to cover all financial aspects of a business. As an integrated software solution that connects and automates core business functions like finance, supply chain, manufacturing, and so on. Also, TCOG provides real-time data, streamlines the operations, and improves decision-making by ensuring all departments work in a single source of truth, right? So if you have, I think, both TCOG and the log believe in the best of breed solutions, meaning that there is out there no one system that can do it all. And that's why it's important that we have like the PLM doing its best as a PLM system and the ERP doing like the best functions for an ERP system. And these have to be connected. And then I think I'm going to give my word to my colleague Stefan, who's going to talk about why the data flow and transparency matters.
Yeah, let's make Stefan presenter as well so we can move on. Stefan.
Yeah, super. Okay. Let's see if it works now. Yes. Yeah, so you guys, many of you probably know of either TCOG or Delogue, or maybe both, and you will see during our demos and in conversation with us that we are two really, really good systems. But what I want to talk about is why it matters to also connect data with each other. You guys that are listening here at this webinar, you probably know this better than I do, but that the supply chain for products or for any sort of brand involves many different systems, because there's many steps going from an idea to basically the finished product and me using it as a customer. And of course, there's many different systems that you can get involved in the supply chain. But what I'm trying to prove to you is that the perhaps most important connection is the one between the PLM system and the ERP system, and how you can bridge a lot of these gaps with it. Now, how do I approach this? Well, maybe the best way is to start with the actual problems. I have a little spoiler to all of you. We have some good news. TCOG and Delogue is connected. That's why we are well, how would you say, we are confident enough to host this webinar to you. So I was thinking of going over a little bit what the issues could be of having disconnected systems. So no matter which system you have, if you don't have a PLM, if you don't have an ERP, a lot of brands work in so-called silos. So you have a bunch of data for different steps in the supply chain in different silos, in different areas. And of course, this slows down product development because all the team works with outdated and inconsistent information. And you don't know in which silo the latest status is, you don't know how they're connected with each other, and it's basically very, very hard to get on top of all of your problems. So that always puts you one step behind. It slows down the entire organization. And of course, what this requires is that people within the organization manually have to input the same data in many different places. And of course, this increases errors drastically, and it can lead to really costly mistakes in materials, pricing, or even compliance. With the ESG, we know that these costly mistakes might lead to actual fines. So that's another big reason why it's so important to actually streamline and connect the different systems. And of course, the people that have to input this manual data is usually people from your creative team. And this robs them of really valuable time. You would be surprised to know what an extreme amount of time a designer or product developer or buyer spends at administrative problems. Just like Aisha mentioned, looking for the email, looking for the latest kind of message that you received from your supplier, looking for the issue that popped up somewhere in the sample flow. This requires an enormous amount of time for design teams and designers. And of course, all of this makes it extremely narrow margins for errors and mistakes, because if an error or mistake pops up, it can disrupt the whole flow, and then the whole thing kind of ends up in the air because you don't know, you don't have a clear view of the holistic kind of processes attached to the product development. But of course, there is a solution. If I can change to the next slide, there we go. We are connected, TCOG and Delogue. And why is this good? Well, of course, if you have these two systems connected to each other, you guarantee a seamless data exchange where the product data basically flows directly from the PLM to ERP. So your product development team will work in the PLM system because that's where they should work. And the other departments are going to enrich the data coming from the PLM through the ERP in BC. So in that sense, you can actually cover a lot of the steps in the supply chain. And of course, this improves your supply chain efficiency in general, in terms of purchasing, inventory, production planning, because all of these actions and activities are based on up-to-date product specifications. You know what the latest status is, and you know what not the latest status is, basically. And of course, at the end of the day, the idea behind this is that this escalates and kind of speeds up the time to market, and of course improves your supply chain efficiency. And ultimately, it leads to a stronger compliance and traceability because all the regulatory data is automatically transferred, which reduces all risks in terms of non-compliance. And of course, we sometimes visualize it like this. This is our kind of slide from Delogue. Probably, you know, we have made our PLM a little bit bigger because this is the slide that I usually show. But it shows you how you could kind of connect, by connecting the PLM system with the ERP, you can cover a lot of the steps in the supply chain as well. But of course, both systems are very important for each other. In the PLM, you would define the creation of the product in all details, down to the very granular detail on the product level. And when you push that data into the ERP seamlessly, that data gets enriched with even more kind of additional information, which is attached in the ERP system in TCOG. And then you can send that data out to all of these different, I mean, Eric is going to show you guys also that there's many different channels to which you can send data from TCOG as well. So connecting these two actually guarantees that each department works with what they should be working, but everyone has an insight and a view in what's working, what's the status, and it speeds up time. It makes you spend less time on admin and more on creative work, and it also just calms down the whole organization. There is less stress, and it's much easier to work pushing a product in the supply chain funnel. Yeah, and I think with that said, I think Eric, maybe you could dive a bit deeper into the key benefits of our integration.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Stefan, for sharing. So indeed, you've heard a lot about, you know, the. I'm not sure if my presentation got stuck. Yeah, got a little bit stuck, but it's here again. About, you know, the benefits of the integrated, the two integrated integrative systems. But what I think would be very interesting for some of you to hear, because we have some customers today with us, and um, some fashion companies that are going into you know, like this sort of digital transformation project. So for them, I think for you, it will be very interesting to hear. So what do we actually have? So what we so let's start with, you know, a sort of description of what we've of our journey from let's say the last 3 years and how it works. So what we know is that, you know, the integration between the ERP, Business Central, including Ipsos Fashion 365 for the fashion management, and Delogue really streamlines the process, right? The transition from product development to in the end, commercial execution. So the entire product development lifecycle takes place inside Delogue, right? But once a collection has finalized, typically there probably many of you have, you know, sort of internal review meeting, and you decide, okay, these selected styles are marked for these are going to be in the next collection. So inside Delogue, they can be marked as ready for export. And at that point, the user can really trigger a push function inside Delogue, which actually sends the relevant style master data through an API to Business Central. And that's I think really interesting, because then the data is transferred, including all sorts of attributes, right? Gender, stuff like that, that are required to list this style on a sales order. You know, you can think of all sorts of master data like style number and description and unit of measure and season collection, stuff like that. And what's important, of course, to know is that most users working in Delogue, and like some of you are product developers, they are not working in the ERP. So therefore, this integration really bridges the gap between those two departments. So you can really, you know, approve your collection, and sales teams can actually begin their pre-sales and enter the pre-sales maybe through a B2B solution inside the ERP. And what it really does is that this, like you said, like I said, it automates, and without this integration, you know, new collection styles, they must be either manually created in the ERP or imported via an Excel using like a style import functionality, which is of course also possible. But the first option is of course very manual, it takes a lot of time. It's a really error prone process, so to say, and also to every time upload an Excel is of course time consuming, depending on of course how many collections do you have per year. We have some customers that have like 30 collections per year. When this, you know, then it really gets interesting to say, okay, can we automate this process to be more efficient? Because that's really in the end what you would be looking at. So of course there's also the option, you know, we have all in Business Central, you can also there are several standard APIs, or we have APIs provided with Ipsos Fashion 365. But of course, without the standard integration, you would have, you know, you would require some technical knowledge, working with endpoints and payloads and stuff like that to really or, you know, you have to add middleware solutions like an order management system or whatever. What adds up to the complexity and cost and you know, the knowledge that you have to maintain in your organization. So this is where our integration really stands out, and what that's one of the the advantages for organizations that choose both solution. And what also is interesting to mention is that one of the advantages is also that it automatically creates new master data. So if a if you have some new materials inside Delogue, let's say you don't have 100% cotton in Delogue, you add it to a new style, or you add a new supplier or a new color code, these values will be automatically created on the fly in Business Central. So this really eliminates the error message that or manual data entry that you would have if you would do a manual upload, because then Business Central would say, yeah, I don't know the 100% cotton, error message, and you have to solve it, So this integration will solve that for you, also ensuring more consistency across the two systems. And you can also, it also supports automatic processing via the job queue functionality in Business Central. So you can really schedule or real-time update or creation of new styles. So that's really interesting. And also I spoke to our product owner yesterday, and he told me about, what's still on the roadmap is that we want to include the implementation of a webhook, sort of technical term, but some of you may know may be aware of this functionalities, but then you would automatically sync changes made to styles inside Delogue. So and this really removes the need to manually push updates from Delogue to ERP through pushing a button, but it will be automatically via nightly schedule via job queue, for example. So that's really, to make it more concrete what the integration does. And I think, yeah, Stefan, you already mentioned all the things that it benefits: collaboration, real-time visibility, reduced errors, data integrity. That's really good to know. Also, the one thing to add to that is that, of course, you have two different departments, right? You have the designing and the development department, which is really creative by nature, and then you have the ERP, the users working in an ERP. And ERP system by nature is very strict, requiring structured data and predefined number sequences and standardized formats. Of course, this is because financials need to be very strict. So the nature of an ERP is very strict. So that was one thing we had to discuss when developing this integration. So how do you work with, on one hand, a very creative system that allows you to very easily add different fields, to a very static or very non-flexible system, because that's the nature of a transaction system. So I think that's really interesting. And of course, there are some procedures that you need to discuss inside your organization. So how do we, how and when and who does what, and yeah, during implementation we really help you to define this way of working between the different departments. So that's in a nutshell what very concrete what the integration looks like. Let's go to demo, because we have 20 minutes left. So Stefan, maybe we can go dive into Delogue. So I'm going to make you presenter. And I think you already have the mouse. So I think you can now show your screen, and then we can have a look in Delogue.
Yeah, we'll see it. Well,
yep.
Let me see. I can't max it. Yes, I can. Okay, yeah. So this is not going to be, usually when I have a demo, just for everyone's knowledge, it takes longer time. I usually have like 45 minutes to 1 hour, and it's based on going through all of the different modules. I just want to say, if anyone would be interested in having like a proper PLM product demo, feel free to reach out to me or Aisha. Here I'm instead going to focus more about the actual connection, a little run through, but we actually made a product in our PLM, which later we will send to my God, now it stands still, to BC, to TCOG, where the same product will also show up. So basically, I always begin every meeting by saying Delogue is cloud-based, of course, so this is where it lives. We have these 6 different modules that do different things. They're kind of self-explanatory. We have 2 main libraries in the system. So we have one for styles. We have one for items. These are all the components. The style is the list of all products. Of course, we have different filters so that you can display different types of products. If you want to create a filter, you do it with this star, so then you have access to all the filter options. A lot of the information that you have here, for example, supplier, season, different product categories, etc., are things that you input here in admin in the backend. So this is where basically you create all of your brands, you upload your suppliers, the different sample types that you're working with, seasonal codes. This is all kind of for you. You don't need to contact Delogue PLM if you want to change something like that. This is all free for you to go in and change. So I actually created a brand here called My Brand, and this is just a fake brand that we made, which we will also then mirror in TCOG. So of course I made a little filter here for the My Brand. So I have it here with the jacket that I have made. So it's a jacket for the brand My Brand, and when I click on it here, I'm in the master data field. Of course, this isn't super filled out yet. Usually you would keep working with this, you would publish the style, and underneath the master data field, you have like additional types of information. So you have this tab called communication, which is great because this is where you can then email to your supplier. If you attach your supplier, let's just pretend that I would attach a supplier here. I can select a supplier from a drop-down menu. I'm gonna pick Hong Kong Fashion Limited. I'll pick Sam Wang. It's a contact person that I myself added to the supplier in backend. I'll click OK here, and now I can actually talk to Sam Wang. And when Sam Wang receives an email from me, this is where he will have the email. So if I now write to Sam Wang, I can pick him from a, I maybe have to update here, but I can pick him from a drop-down menu and write him an actual email directly in the system. And then he can, of course, respond in the system. Of course, this is where I handle all of my different sample flows. So if I want to order a sample, I'm going to do it directly with the supplier here. I have a drop-down menu where I can select which type of sample it is that I want to order, you know, and then I can work with an automatic deadline or set them manually, write a message, and place my actual order here in the different colors. And of course, Aisha also mentioned earlier that the BOM list is very important for legislative matters, and also where the kind of product journey starts. So here you would basically set up the different colors that this style is going to come in. These colors would also, these style colors would also go over into TCOG. You guys will see that later. And basically you can build your BOM list like this and build the different color charts like it. Each and every component here on this bill of material is connected to our other library in items. So if I, for example, click on this material here, cotton heavy, I end up in my items library where I can separately communicate with the supplier regarding specifically this material. Of course, here I will have the exact fiber mix, the composition, the thickness and weight, and all the different colors that this supplier has these trims in. And I would email and communicate regarding each color and the composition right here. So if I have a question or something, I would click on the speech bubble and I can just type my message directly to the supplier. And basically, this is how we keep on pushing the data. We can also make a size chart. Of course, this is something that's pretty straight up and down. You create your own size range. You select a kind of a grading size, and then your grading units, and then you just grade the measurement chart up and down. You can handle different types of files here. We also have a file handling area here called style files, where you can upload any types of files, 3D, Excel, pictures, you name it. But this size chart also could be exported to TCOG. So you will see that all of these different sizes that we have for this product will also be mirrored in TCOG. We of course also have custom fields, which are basically fields that you build yourself. It's hard for me to say exactly what that would be for your specific brand, but a lot of the ESG information would be put here, like for example, the GPSR, where you would make your risk analysis connected to the correct product in the actual system. And of course, all of these custom fields are connected to our APIs. So they live in the cloud as well. So we can send them to any other system, also to TCOG. And of course, I could dive a lot deeper into all of this and go many different directions. And as I said, if you guys would be interested in having a demo of the platform, me and Aisha are super happy to help you and show you. But I think that as of now, just for you guys to see, we have created this product, and now the idea is to show how that would look in TCOG. So yeah, without further ado, Eric, maybe you can take back ownership.
Yeah, sure. Let's change the presenter again, and I'll make myself presenter, show my screen. Let's see if it works. All right. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, that's great. So I just opened up my browser just to, to continue with my story about, in the beginning I said Business Central is the ERP fundament, and it's, extensible. You can extend it through apps, sort of standardized components, standardized functionality that you can add to Business Central. And like I said, what we have done is we made a standardized app for fashion management inside Business Central, because Business Central is a worldwide ERP platform, not optimized for fashion companies specifically. So we need to add that functionality and to the system. So what you see here is AppSource, and that's basically the marketplace for business apps for Microsoft. So you can search for anything if you want some quality management or freight management or whatever you want to add to your Business Central functionality. You can have a look at there. About 5,000 apps available. We usually also add sustainability functionality to Business Central to report on your emissions, but also bank integration, stuff like that. But what I would like to show you here is just, you can just go, this is openly available. Just go to appsource.microsoft.com, and you can have a look. And what if you filter on TCOG, you see actually all the apps that we made possible. And what you see specific apps that could be relevant for you, for it's just Fashion 365. We were talking about that. I was talking about that earlier. To support full fashion management, you can have a look. You can go to details and support, and you can find the manual with all the functionalities, what it covers, what it adds to standard Business Central. Also the Delogue, it's a fashion integration. So if you would like to know, okay, what does it cover, what does it do, just go to details and support and download the manual. It's openly available. Also integration to B2B, to fulfillment parties, etc. So we've got a lot of apps here. Just to give you an idea how Business Central works with extensions or apps. Basically, you can use both terms. Now I would like to go to Business Central. Now maybe some of you have never seen an ERP because you're a product developer and you mainly work in a PLM system. Some of you may be very familiar with ERP systems, or maybe older versions or whatever. This is the newest version of Business Central, fully in the cloud. So this is the SaaS version, software as a service. So you would only need a browser to open the solution and use the solution. So what you find here is, let me make my GoToWebinar screen a little smaller, then I can show you a little bit around. What you would see here is the nine dots. I always call them like that, and you will find all the Microsoft services here. Here you can search for all types of functionalities inside the ERP. You'll find your notifications, your settings, etc. I'll come later to that. Here you have all the tabs with all the functionalities that it offers. For finance, cash management, sales, everything from customers, items, quotes, orders, purchasing, some invoicing, some vendors, stuff like that. Microsoft also offers a native Shopify integration, so that could be interesting, although we connect to many e-commerce platforms. So here you have your, they always call it a role center. It's basically tailored for your role within the company. We have a lot of predefined roles here. This is a business manager role, so you can see everything from finance to purchase to sales, etc. really broad role. And if you scroll down, you see everything related to ongoing sales, purchases, payments, tasks, email statuses, approvals. If you want to place a purchase order, but you're only allowed to place a purchase order up to 50,000 euros, for example, but need some sort of approval before you, if you go higher. And here you find some room for your for your report. So these are Power BI reports. You can easily connect your Power BI service to Business Central and really visualize the things you need to focus on, the KPIs you need to focus on. Now, what I mentioned is that it's a role-based system. So we can through settings we can actually change the role. And what is exactly what I'm going to do here. I'm going to switch to the It's Fashion 365 operation role, which is a role specifically to manage all the style data. So what you see here, of course, you can edit these roles, right? You can leave some stuff out if you want, and you can also limit it with all sorts of user rights. But what you saw the role center slightly change. You see some for example here the button Delogue appearing. And what we have done, like I said, we have the standard integration. You can also have a look at through searching in the system. Just go. I installed this Delogue. If you go to extensions, extension management, then you see all the extensions that are in this environment. So here we have, for example, buying groups, inkoopcombinatie functionalities for the Dutch listeners. But we also have the PLM integration with It's Fashion. So it's really, if you want to use this integration, you would need both Delogue as well as It's Fashion 365. Now, if you would open the Delogue tab again, you see different things. So we can have a look at Delogue styles, like Stefan just showed you. You can push your Delogue styles to Business Central. I'll explain that in a moment. You can do the Delogue setup. I'll show you a bit around the custom field setup, where you can map actually the fields that are in Delogue as well as in Business Central, and also a bit of price mapping. So what it supports basically is both the push and pull operations. So data can be sent from Delogue to BC, to Business Central, but it can also it's also possible to retrieve data from BC into or from Delogue from a BC perspective, so to say. So if you would be pushing data from Delogue, the information first arrives in the Delogue style card, and the Delogue style cards, go there, is basically a buffer table in Business Central. So this card, let's open one, actually mirrors the structure of a standard model card, a style card, but no items are created yet. It's a buffer table, and there's a button, show or create or update style, and with this functionality, when this is executed, the system automatically generates the full style in Business Central, including the items, the variants, the colors, the sizes, everything. Barcodes are not automatically created, but they can be generated within BC with just a click on a button for a whole season. Also, custom fields can be mapped. You already see some relevant data of this particular style. And if I would do this and this, then the Business Central style will be created. And the custom field setup, it's interesting to have a look, because there you can really see the mapping from the destination, which is the fields in Business Central, and the custom field name inside Delogue. So there's slightly maybe different custom fields that any customer or any user would use, and these are the standard fields in Business Central and It's Fashion that we use, and you can really use this to map it. But also the price calculation, that's really interesting one as well, because inside Delogue, Delogue obviously supports all types of pricing calculations, including cost price and markups and margin analysis and stuff like that. And these calculated prices, don't really have an example here, but you can map these directly to the pricing fields in Business Central. So you really have this commercial data alignment between the two systems. So that's really, really interesting. So we have a setup as well. It's like yeah, you can set up the endpoint and all other types of things. That what's the source, what typical what's the environment, the Delogue environment we need to connect with, etc. Of course, with new customers, we help to set this up. There's a Delogue wizard as well. And through a number of steps, it enables you to connect to Delogue. So that's really brief. What happens? It starts with the with the buffer table, the Delogue style card, and from that, of course, Business Central items and styles are created. So if I would go there, this is a style. Let's go. Let's take an example, trousers, for example, and here you find the style in Business Central that we are able to put on a purchase order. And you find all types of relevant information that are needed in an ERP system, everything from some purchasing aspects, financial aspects, color, sizes, pre-packs, variants. You can find here some attributes, for example, gender or product group, fit, etc. And we can really easily through let's see, purchasing, we can start making a purchase order new, and we can start by making a purchase order, fill in the vendor name, the contact, etc. And through the matrix, this is also functionality that we add to standard Business Central. You can easily add all your styles that you want to place on the purchase order, and then you can, you can print it, you can send it to your vendor, and then through transportation management functionality that we also support, we can really keep track of the logistical process, and in the end we receive the items and create a warehouse receipt, so to say. So this is basically what I wanted to show. Of course, it's very limited, very short, but then you have some sort of idea of how it works. Maybe I see you wanted to give some sort of conclusion to the story, right? So let's move on to that, because we have 3 more minutes and we have some questions to cover. So,
yeah, I'll keep it short. It was very interesting to see both systems back to back. I think that doesn't happen that often. But just to have a conclusion of what we're speaking about for 45 minutes now, the key benefits of integrating your PLM system and your ERP system is, of course, you eliminate the data silos, and with that, you reduce the errors you do in your everyday work. And by doing so, you, of course, also improve supply chain efficiency because everything flows in a good manner. And with that as well, you accelerate the time to market. So you have most likely a faster time to market. And I think it will be very shown after working like for half a year with both systems at the same time. And most importantly, I think looking into the future, you of course strengthen your compliance and traceability by having both systems that work as a single source of truth for their operations. You have a very good database for what is coming for the fashion industry. And lastly, the data-driven decision-making is something that I think every company should do, because it is the real-time data that you have and the real situation of your business. And I think with that, you can also make better decisions. Exactly.
great, thanks, Isis. So we have one question from Sophia, and I think it goes to Stefan. So the question is it correct that we need to manually fill in each product group from each supplier, as Stefan is demonstrating? I'm asking because we have many product categories and around 150 to 200 active suppliers.
Thanks for the question. Yeah, I think that of course, like if we can deep dive, so you can also always reach out to me and then I will give you a private session. But in general, you add all product categories in the backend. So you have a list of all product categories that you're working with. You can also connect them to the pricing module, so you have different tax and freight depending on or especially tax depending on the country and the product category, and then you just attach these to the products. And you can do that in different ways, but it's not like you for every style have to make a new product category. You have them in a list already, and so you just pick from the list. But that's something that I would love to show you. If you're interested, feel free to absolutely reach out. I'm sure that Eric is going to share our email addresses in the end on the last slide. So yes, then I would love to help you and show it to you, maybe send you a video. But in general, we have a list of all the product categories, and you just pick from that list.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thanks, Stefan. I hope that answered the question. If not, I'm making sure, Sophia, that Stefan will reach out to you to to really answer your question if it didn't. I don't see any other questions, and we are kind of approaching the 1 hour. It's 11:30, so perhaps we can come to sort of the ending of the webinar. So if there are any questions, please reach out to us. So contact me if it comes to, if you have ERP related questions. Also, if you're from Denmark, Germany, or whatever, wherever you are, please contact me, because we can also support with this fashion and international in multiple countries through our indirect network. And if it comes to PLM questions, please reach out to Stefan or Isa. Stefan, I don't have the email addresses of ours in this slide, but I will make sure that an email will be sent from our marketing department to all people that registered with our contact details. So that's absolutely fine. So a deep dive is always possible. So let's wrap it up. Thank you all for your attention, and have a great day. Stefan, Isa, thank you,
Eric. Thanks
for your input. And
yes.
let's talk later. And to all listeners, have a great day. Thank you.
Great day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.